and welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara O'Brien. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Jared Christmas and Russell Howard, Jack Whitehall, Hugh Dennis and Nick Rabinowitz. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of the new government's top brass, but what does CAEB stand for?
Is it Cameron and Errand Boy?
That could be it. That's a list of the things he's in charge of. Coats and everyone's bags.
Is it the worst ever Carry On film? Carry On and economic balls up.
Is it just a list of things we can't afford anymore? Is it care homes, army, education, buses?
That was the worst cut of all when they said that.
Is it crap advert for elite breeding?
I know what they're doing. They're actually discussing who they're going to invite to their pool party, and they've just gone, crikey, anyone except Barrymore.
Is it simply coffers are empty, bollocks?
We look like the worst version of Reservoir Dogs as well.
Reservoir Dicks. Look at
It's not then Cowell Assemble's evil boy band?
EB definitely stands for emergency budget, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Coalition announce emergency budget.
Oh, fine. Well done. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Coalition announces emergency budget. This is a story that Chancellor George Osborne has announced the coalition government's first budget with the biggest package of tax increases and spending cuts in a generation. Osborne's tough budget included a VAT rise to 20% with public spending and welfare cuts to be detailed in the autumn. So what will be the big points of the budget?
Well, and everything's gone up. We're cutting stuff. But
wow, I love the level of analysis we can bring to this debate. Cut. Other stuff didn't get cut, you know. Ooh, bummer.
Sorry. What annoys me, the fact that Osborne and Cameron keep saying, we're in this together, we're all in this together. You're a multi-millionaire, married to a multi-millionaire. We're not all in this together. That's like Vanessa Feltz comforting an anorexic. We're not all in it together. The bankers, they're still getting bonuses. That's like finding out Bin Laden got air miles after 9/11. We're not all in it together.
the timing of the budget is terrible, though, because I think when they announced this, which was 6 weeks ago, they assumed that this week would be on a wave of national euphoria as England swept majestically into the next bit of the World Cup. And it's all gone. I mean, the only thing that could actually make the timing of it worse was, say, if a British company was pouring oil into the Gulf of Mexico.
On the timing front, though, why not just hold it one day later? Why not just hold it at 3 o'clock on the Wednesday when the entire... Because then you could bring in anything. Nobody's going to be watching. And meanwhile, on BBC 4, you can watch the budget. Nah. I mean, he could be there going, you know, swinging cuts, usual stuff, fat people into camps. I think it's anything, and when the match was on, and nobody would have seen it, like.
I think that's quite a good idea, though, fat people into camps. What a fantastic idea. In fact, let's go a stage further. Let's give homeless people money to knock food out of fat people's hands.
One thing they said as well is, like, in these times of austerity, to get through it, everyone's going to have to be very creative. And I've already started thinking like that. You know the way they say there's no such thing as a free meal? I found you go into gastropubs with one of these. That's not always the case. So, bear that in mind. Think outside the box.
You can also tell that how bad things are, because I suspect that George Osborne is at that moment saying, look, we've no money, I can't even afford a new briefcase.
Why do they hold it up? No one else does that before their day of work. You don't see a butcher holding up a pig before he leaves.
If they get on board with that, that'd be fantastic.
Well, just change the pig go like that.
It was basically asking the public, where are the cuts going to come? He wanted to know from the public. And you're thinking, he's only been in the job for a month and he's already run out of ideas. You know, it's not our job to tell him how to do his job. That's not why we didn't actually elect him.
So what measures were taken even before the budget? What were they cutting?
Oh, there's a
They
major...
cut the science advisor, because who needs that when you've got Google?
The thing that they've actually cut is, and which is terrible, really, they're taking 25% of every government department. But the stupid things they've cut the visitor centre at Stonehenge, which is bad because honestly, that's going to piss off the Druids. And they've cut the search and rescue helicopters, which is bad, and Cameron will regret when he's been kidnapped by Druids.
The Stonehenge was going to cost 25 million. I've been to Stonehenge. I've seen Stonehenge. I don't think it really merited a 25 million pound. You can walk it in 3.5 minutes. I think a leaflet would do the job very well. Leaflets are very quick to publish, and they don't cost 25 million. Hand out one of them. You're around 3 minutes. You're back onto the road classing.
The visitor centre, they were going to spend 25 million pounds demolishing it and then building another one further away from the stones. Move the stones.
You can move them. These days, our technology, you can move them in no time.
Get some Welsh dudes with tree trunks and then roll them down the hill. That's what they did in the first place.
Can I tell you, our president is a Druid.
That Jacob Zuma, is that...
He actually made a whole corruption trial disappear before he was elected.
Better than your last president, Thabo Mbeki.
Yes.
Crazy, I can solve AIDS using vitamin pills.
Zuma, you may have heard, is a polygamist. He's married to 3 wives, and he's only going for 13 more. Yep, it's official. He's going to finish on 16 because he misunderstood the priest at his first wedding, who said to him, 4 better, 4 worse, 4 richer.
They keep blaming Labour. The reason why it's going to be so tough is because of Labour. They're like an evil stepdad, aren't they? Gordon wasn't like that. Gordon isn't here anymore.
Help me kill your cattle, there'll be nothing for dinner.
George Osborne's nickname is apparently Boy George. Yeah. And in the House of Commons, that's what they call him. And it's funny because every time I look at him, you know, I do think, yes, George, I do really, really want to hurt you.
The Conservative government, one of their big things was to freeze the civil list and take money away from the royal family. And I thought it was quite, you know, like the Queen said that she's going to have to cut down on her spending. And I thought, boo-hoo. And then I thought, someone needs to tell that woman about cash for gold.
An envelope, her in the tower, ramming a crown to an envelope. Like, get another jiffy! In other news, what's going on here?
This is a pretty bad wife swap for Sarkozy.
When I stand up, this is where my head comes to.
It almost looks like he's proposing to solve everything with paper, scissors, rock.
Are you sure it's not anything like, you must be this tall to ride my wife?
I think he's saying, can you lend me some money, David? I'm a little short.
Is it that Samantha Cameron is with child and Carla Bruni is with a man the size of a child?
Sarkozy was over for the 70th anniversary of some broadcast by Charles de Gaulle, wasn't he?
Yes, it was, yeah.
It said he was over here to discuss the French contribution during the war over lunch. I was like, ha! That'll be a pretty quick lunch.
Yes, it was the 70th anniversary of Charles de Gaulle making a radio broadcast to initiate the French resistance, basically. Cameron presented him with a commemorative box set of Allo Allo. As a thank you from the British people for the excellent work done by the French. OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Jack, Hugh and Nick. Now we play a round called George Osborne's Big Red Budget Mocks. This game involves Nick, Jared and Jack, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launch the wheel of news. Wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. OK, here we go. The first subject is nationality. Who wants to come in on that?
I'll take it.
Jared.
Like most of you, I've got a nationality. I'm I'm from New Zealand, and the thing is, growing up in New Zealand was pretty tough. It's pretty tough, especially with the name Jared Christmas. That's my real name. Jared is spelled J-A-R-R-E-D. Thanks, Mum and Dad, that's Jard. Cheers for the double whammy of Christmas as well. Woo! High school was a treat. For a whole year, I had a teacher. Whenever she was calling the register in the morning, I was never allowed to go, hi, hello, I'm here, good to see you. No, every morning it was Anders, present, Brown, present, Christmas. But I don't want to show off or anything, but I've got an older brother. Thank you. And he's in the New Zealand Army. It's just him. And now you're laughing because you're thinking, New Zealand got an army. What was the last conflict they were involved in? Lord of the Rings. That's what they did.
Well done, Jared. Thank you very much. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is South Africa.
We have the dung beetle. Some of you may have seen the dung beetle at the opening ceremony of the World Cup. The dung beetle in the language of Xhosa, which is one of our 11 I actually speak, is Xhosa. It's actually the dung beetle is Xhoxoxwane. And if you want to say, I'm fine, thank you, in Xhosa, you say, Kabakab vinegar. You coming to South Africa, learn that language. It'll open doors for you, like, no. And we've tried the red button to get rid of the BBC commentary in South Africa. This is not a lie. We have to listen to your commentary. And what a lot of people are doing is turning the sound down on the television and putting the radio onto Radio Xhosa, because those commentators are a lot more exciting. I watched England play America. And that guy came on and he was like, Zimbin Dabamatoda! Soccer City Stadium! That was just the beginning, and then he came on and said, some people call him the ref started again. I'm a Lions. But in the USA, Tatibol Steven Gerrard, Dangerous Kakulu Stevie G. Oh, Stevie G, look at Rooney. Rooney. Tatibol USA, Tati Clint Dempsey, Tati Shot, Robert Green. Oh, Butterfinger.
Thank you. Well done, Nick. That leaves us with Jack. Let's see what you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. OK, it's charity.
I find charity quite confusing. I was walking down the street the other day, and one of those women with the blue NSPCC bibs and a bucket and clipboard came up to me. She said, do you like kids? I said, surely there's got to be subtler ways of catching sex offenders. But I do like the people that go and do it, charity work, when they, like, leave school and stuff. The girls that go off and do it for, like, a year, and then they come back and you realise the only reason they've done it is so they can shove it down your throat. Like, oh, my God, it was so amazing. We went to Tibet. Oh, literally, where to start? Preferably near the end. Oh, no. Me and my friend Viskiri, who's ethnic, by the way, did I mention, and Cassandra, who's properly working class and has a penchant for benefit fraud, well, we just talked around Tibet, making the most amazing Thai grass, talking about, like, 9/11 conspiracy theories and foot-massaging lepers, and we found the most wonderful little monastery on the foot of Mount Hitra Pitra Matra Piketra Atu. And we stayed there for weeks, just helping the orphans. It just makes you think, haven't the orphans suffered enough? I did it, though. I did a bit of charity work once. On my gap year, I went and did a little bit of volunteer work in a special needs school for children, and just playing games with them, football, tennis. And it does genuinely make you feel really good inside, because you always win.
Well done. At the end of that round, the points go to Nick Ramirez. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Jared, which category would you like?
Oh, geez. Sport?
OK, your category is sport. The answer is 3.5 billion. What is the question?
Is it how many goals the North Koreans are being told their team scored in this World Cup?
Is it if Piers Morgan got murdered, how many potential suspects will there be?
Is it how many men are there on the planet with a lower testosterone level than Serena Williams and her brother Venus?
What is the top speed in miles per hour of Stephen Hawking?
In the last week, how many plankton have gone, have you got any shampoo? I'm really oily.
Is it how many times James Corden's been on TV since the World Cup started?
What position is Fergie now in line to the throne?
How many people cannot understand Emmanuel Adebayor still?
Is it after extras, how much does a £5 Ryanair flight actually cost?
How many children have to be born before China initiate phase 1 of global takeover?
The Glazer family have consolidated all their debts into what easy monthly payment?
Is it how many times will this episode of Mock the Week be shown on Dave?
Every chance this is one of those times. we're all dead now. We've been dead for years. This is the 5th iteration of The Matrix. Still they show us to placate the batteries. I'm going to have to move to correct answer.
Is it how much the World Cup is going to cost South Africa?
That's very right. Well done. Thank you very much, Jack. That's it. Yes, the question I was looking for was, what is the World Cup going to cost South Africa? Yes, that's right, the World Cup in South Africa is going to leave the country with a bill of $3.5 billion. The original estimate had been $300 million, which wouldn't even eventually have covered the cost of rebuilding the Soccer City Stadium, where the final will be held on July the 11th. Now, there's an awkward thing about this, right, because we record this show on a Tuesday, England play on a Wednesday, it goes out on a Thursday, which makes it
as
difficult, to quite gauge the national mood 2 days in advance. We could get it right, we get it wrong. We're in sort of time paradox here at this stage. There's danger if we incorrectly predict the result and then we're either massively out of step or correct, and it could be like Terminator or something, or Back to the Future, and we will end up accidentally, maybe sleeping with our own grandmothers, or worse yet, going back and finding out that John Terry has already slept with our grandmothers, and it makes it enormously difficult to do. So, within that unusual context, are you happy with how South Africa's been perceived around the world now?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think everybody's taken to the Vuvuzela. 50,000 of them have sold here.
Yeah, we love it. We're loving the Vuvuzela.
Excuse me.
You've played a blinder there, if I can just say on behalf of the world, well done on the Vuvuzela.
There are positive aspects. There are...
But this is quite interesting, right? Nick, you give it a blow quickly.
Hey?
The Vuvuzela. Okay. Right, now, Dara sounds like a sickly Lurpak man. Go on. I like you, Nick, but it sounds like a Wookiee having a tricky shit.
This noise, I'm sorry, I can't do it. You do it, right?
One more time.
Yeah, one more time. Should be followed by Han Solo going, ooh, give it a couple of minutes there, wouldn't I? Millennium Falcon toilet just for a second or two, Luke.
There are positive aspects to the Vuvuzela, because people all over the world now realise how appalling it is to give a child a toy trumpet for Christmas.
My mate Dave reckons, direct quote from my mate Dave, you know them Vuvuzelas? They're so loud they can kill a monkey. Is that true?
No, it's not. It's not true.
Wouldn't that be an amazing episode of Springwatch?
But I'll tell you what could. I'll tell you what could actually kill them is the Tutuzela. Have you heard of that?
What do you mean by Tutuzela?
The Tutuzela is a reference to Bishop Desmond Tutu. It's a much higher pitch. If you listen to him, when he came on, what a wonderful occasion, and that actually, and then he made a speech afterwards. He said, what I want to say, let us not forget. Let us not forget. I just forgot.
That was incredible.
Please stop. You're scaring me.
The reason for keeping the vuvuzelas as well is great. South Africans come out like, we're keeping the vuvuzelas because it's South African tradition. It's like, yeah, just because something's a tradition in South Africa, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be that popular with the rest of the world.
It's actually an ancient South African tradition. Goes back to 74.
It's also very confusing to the English upper class because somebody blows it and they go, "Oh, someone's seen a fox."
Andy.
They've actually banned the vuvuzela from Wimbledon. And you're thinking, that is the one place where you would love to hear it, wouldn't you? Yeah. Imagine that on match point. It would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? Yeah. You know, it's like, it would be strawberries and cream. There would be uproar. Well, it's Wimbledon. I say uproar. There would be heavy tutting and some people going, shame.
You feel so sorry for Wimbledon in a World Cup year because Wimbledon becomes the ginger stepson, doesn't it? Daddy, notice me, Daddy. Shut up, Wimbledon. Football's sleeping. There you go. My highlight, I enjoyed the opening ceremony. What me and my mate like to do, right, is we always predict who we think is going to be player of the tournament. And I sent him a text that said, my tip is Messi. He sent one back that went, well, stop playing with it then.
We had that intruder come into the...
Oh, that was exciting.
He said that he went in there and told the England team they were disgraced. This is a bloke who was a mortgage advisor who lived in South East London and supported Manchester United. His whole life is a disgrace.
I don't know why everyone's making such a fuss about it. The New Zealand football team's inviting people into the dressing room just to show them the showers and go, look at this, would you even believe we're here? It's like getting upgraded on our flight from economy to business class, man. This is awesome.
They're being upgraded possibly into the next round. That will also have happened, possibly will have happened at 3 o'clock on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
But it is a case of they just wore suits to the early qualifiers and somebody mistook them for an international football team. Oh, yeah. You must be in the last 16. Oh, yeah, OK.
New Zealand, they actually brought on a bloke whose proper job is a bank clerk.
Yeah, I know it.
And you're thinking, right, we've got a mortgage advisor, breaks into the dressing room, gets a year for trespass, right? They've got a mortgage advisor, breaks into the dressing room, and he gets a game.
He had to take time off work, unpaid leave off work to attend the World Cup.
Yeah, he's left...
incredible is that?
He's left that bank in a state. I love the idea that somebody in Auckland, cashier number 1, where's Dave?
The All Whites have been the success story of the World Cup.
They've been amazing. And what you've got to understand is New Zealand as a nation usually watches football thinking, pick that shit up and run with it. Because we are obsessed with rugby to the point that every sporting team in New Zealand has to have a spin-off name from the All Blacks. That's why the football team's called the All Whites. And that's because... And the amazing thing for us is out of all the Football World Cups to ever get into, we got into the Football World Cup in South Africa and we've sent the All Whites. It's amazing.
At the end of that round, the boys going to wrestle Jared and Andy. Okay, now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics and then we'll see what our panelists can come up with. Okay, here we go. The first subject is unlikely lines to read in the Bible.
The characters in this book are entirely fictitious.
And Samson said, Lord, why have you given me all my strength in my hair? And the Lord replied, because you're worth it.
Noah noticed that the ark was sinking. He hated woodpeckers.
And Mary and Joseph were turned away from the inn, for there was no room. But then a wise man came along, whose name was Lenny of Henry. And there was plenty of room at his inn, for it was a premier inn.
Jesus was born in a stable, so in many years later, when he left the door open and people said, were you born in a barn? He could say, yes, I was actually.
And then a trumpet brought down the walls of Jericho. It was Joshua with his bloody vuvuzela!
Moses arrived with the commandments. Got some bad news for Dave the ox lover.
The Last Supper was a disaster. We're never going to Nando's again, lads.
In the courtyard, Jesus came across a man who couldn't walk. "Brother," he said, "have you been involved in an accident?"
And it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, which was a surprise because the Met Office had predicted a barbecue summer.
Adam and Eve had two sons who could not work together. Their names were Lampard and Gerrard.
About the author, this is God's first book. He has one son, and he's a little bit touchy about gays.
OK, the next topic is things you won't hear your sat-nav say.
Don't be angry, but while you were getting petrol, I shagged your iPod.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
In 300 miles, you will realise this gimmicky voice was a terrible mistake.
At the next set of traffic lights, a cyclist is going to pull up next to you and give you a really dirty look like he's better than you. When the light turns green, let's see how good his balance is.
Turn right at the next junction for a bloody good dogging site.
I'll tell you what, darling, how about you get out of the car and let your husband park?
Turn right. Wrong. I didn't say sat-nav says.
Welcome to Joburg. Lock the doors, put on your bulletproof vest, and don't leave me here. If you go away and leave me here, I won't be here when you come back.
Bear left, and over to the right, squirrel!
Oh, you just turned me on.
Hold on, I've got the map upside down.
Left. Left. Your girlfriend's left.
Next dinner party, you drink and I'll drive.
Did you turn the gas off? Did you lock the door? Did you? Did you? I reckon we should go back. I reckon we should go back.
Where the fuck are we?
Russell, Jared and Andy! And that's the end of the show. This week's winners are Jack Whitehall, Hugh Dennis and Nick Rabinowitz. Commiserations to Andy Parsons, Jared Christmas and Russell Howard. Thanks for watching. I'm Darragh Breen. Good night.
Remembering the King of Pop in a Michael Jackson special on The Culture Show here on BBC Two at 10 to 12 tonight. And there's more comedy on BBC Three now in Lee Nelson's Well Good Show. We have a taster of that coming up.
this week are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard, Chris Addison, Hugh Dennis and Mickey Flanagan. Start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of the England football team after their World Cup exit. But what does GCED stand for?
Is it Glasgow celebrates, Edinburgh delirious?
Genuinely can't even defend.
Is it a list of Rooney's favourite things?
Granny's custard El Divo.
Is it, in fact, a list of the letters that the assistant referee failed in his recent eye test?
Have a goals, cheering. England, Deutschland.
Is it Gerard calls Euro Disney? Have you got any last-minute cancellations?
Is it gobsmackingly crap every decade?
Maybe it's to do with Rooney. That's actually GCED's how he spells Gerard.
Is it? Or how he spells GCSE.
Is it just gigantically crap, expensive donkeys?
As you turn that into a proper head,
Germans crush English dreams.
Yes, very good. Mickey Flanagan, well done. Congratulations. German crush England's dreams is the answer I was looking
That's
for.
it, I'm off now.
This is the story of England's departure from the 2010 South Africa World Cup. Having scraped through to the last 16 after finishing second in the group, England were knocked out following a dismal 4-1 defeat against Germany on Sunday. The final score marks the worst defeat ever for England in a World Cup. So what was your reaction to England?
It was dreadful. It was so different. The worst bit, we're 4-1 down and Capello brings on Heskey. We need goals and we turn to Heskey. That's like being lost in a maze and asking Stevie Wonder for help. And the defending. If we'd have defended that badly in World War II, we'd currently be recording a show called Mocken die Woche! We'd just be going, Ich liebe Schweinsteiger! That's all we'd be saying. That's the most German name in the world, isn't it? Schweinsteiger.
What does it mean? What does Steiger mean? I know Schwein means.
It means pig supervisor, which over here we call that Kerry Katona's agent.
I thought the worst bit, I'm not going to troll to your agony and this or whatever, was when the fourth goal went in and you brought on Heskey and they just brought on anyone. They took off everyone important to already... There's 25 minutes to go and they were already resting people.
Yeah.
They brought on 2 little-known subs and a guy who won a phone-in competition.
I'm not a fan of the game, but I admire Lampard's, reticence. I admire his calm under pressure, that he didn't just go up to the referee and just abuse him, like just throw untold insults at him until eventually the referee went, now that's crossing the line, and then go, I'm sorry, I didn't think you'd notice.
That would be the most witty little bit of ref banter. I didn't think you'd
I didn't think you'd notice me crossing the line.
Cocktail, don't mind if I do.
You're saying now that it's tiredness that's created a lot of it, and I can see that with Rooney, because he has been making Shrek 3 for the last 2 or 3 months.
They are tired. They are tired, and basically Capello said he thinks what should happen is that they should have a winter break, as opposed to at the moment when they have a break in the middle of the actual game.
The only person who's really taken Capello to task is that bloke who accosted him and shouted at him, I paid £5,000 to come out here. That team you put out there was a disgrace. You should be ashamed of yourself. But you can't say that to Capello. You have to say, me pay £5,000. You...
Basically, the problem wasn't it? Was he was playing Gerrard out of position.
Yeah.
He was playing John Terry out of position. But the worst thing of all, he was playing Emile Heskey about 6,500 miles out of the position that he should have been playing in.
True fact, during all England games, the national grid at half-time experiences a massive surge, which is due to people dropping toasters in their baths.
The Germans said
what a
that
wonderful bit of mine. That was
the German tactics apparently were very simple. They tried to lure John Terry out of defence, and it worked. There was one of their team was holding a picture of Wayne Bridges' girlfriend on the edge of the pitch.
Come on, come on. I know you want to.
What we should do, we should sack them for a year, right? Give them all rubbish jobs. How brilliant will they be when they come back? Rooney, you were incredible out there.
I don't want to go back to Argos.
You just run after one with the little pens. Hey, remember this? Remember this? Yeah. Go on, go to the back and get that toaster. Yeah, go on.
We should look on the positive. Now, at least we won't have to watch that Brian Blessed Shakespeare advert again.
Oh.
How terrifying is that? Gianni, he shat himself on that.
Do you know who's not watching the ads with any great joy at the moment? Which is Wayne Rooney. So between every commercial break, there's a picture of him with a long beard living in a caravan. He's going, oh, God. I shouldn't make that promise to the nation yet.
In fairness, that goal would have been the turning point. And even then, Lampard, apparently, when he was swapping jerseys with his German counterpart, the other player even said, by the way, that goal should have been allowed. And then he went on to say, by the way, I don't want your jersey. It stinks of defeat.
Even David Cameron has come out and said he thinks we need technology. I mean, it was a terrible mistake and one that a lot of us were disappointed by. But he's the Prime Minister now. And we need to get on with it.
You were robbed. Of course you were robbed. And the poor guy didn't spot it. But more embarrassing for the guy in the evening match who didn't spot an offside, which then they stuck up on the giant screens in a real and then they had to do this thing going, I fucking got it wrong. I know you got it wrong. Quick, we better cover our mouths in case the deaf lip read us and it kicks off.
That's the thing about this business of goal line technology. And they're talking about, it's too expensive. Like it's going to be microchips in footballs and lasers on the lines. Why don't they just rewind the tape? Have Sky not got Sky Plus? I'll phone in. Yeah, that was a goal. Yeah, she's fine, actually.
You see us...
Oh, that'll be good. OK, and the match is paused. We're going to Chris.
Hang on, wait a minute. Oh, sorry, I've taped Peppa Pig on it. Sorry, but if it's any consolation, George has found Mr. Dinosaur.
Don't you think it would have been a wonderful moment for, relationships with if the goalkeeper would have turned around and said, it went in? Don't you think?
Yeah, it would have been
But he didn't. He turned around very craftily and he went, couldn't believe they were still playing.
Yeah. Are you genuinely telling me that
An Englishman would have.
An Englishman would have.
An English keeper would have grabbed the ball and just gone, nah.
You can't tell me English footballers are now renowned for their honesty, are they?
Compared to the Europeans.
Even after the game, Steven Gerrard actually said, right, having been beaten 4-1, Steven Gerrard said, it may have seemed that we were given a right hiding in the second half, but that wasn't the case. Like, he actually said... I don't know if before he said that he went, look into my eyes, not around the eyes.
Do you know what's amazing? Lampard said, no one can tell me that we got beaten 4-1 today. And you're going, well, there's a giant scoreboard in the corner. Let's look at that.
But what was interesting, apparently sales of condoms have gone down since England have been knocked out of the World Cup. Generally true. Which implies that there were blokes beforehand going, good girl, Linda! So when I keep playing like that, you're going to get it, darling. And it makes you think, is there a female equivalent? Well, that is a cracking episode of Hollyoaks. Barry! I'm going to ride you like a pit pony.
So, for the entire match, is there a woman sitting at the end of the couch in, all basked up and stuff, and then as the goals go in, going, get me coat.
Argentina are through, aren't they? And they're exciting. You get to see Maradona. Looks like a cross between Antonio Banderas and wee little Jimmy Cranky. It's fantastic. And then when they score, that much kissing going on the Argentinian bench, it looks like Clapham Common on a dark night.
Maradona in that suit, he's a man who should not be wearing a suit, isn't he? He looks like he's either on his way to court or he's about to do an advert going, hey, you want carpets? Crazy Diego, eat your carpet.
Yeah, that round. The points go to Russell, Ed and Andy. OK. Now we play a round called, if only 3 people do this round, we can all mock off early. This game involves Mickey, Andy and Chris. So if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launch a wheel of news and wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. OK, here we go. The first subject is... travel. Who wants to come in on that?
I'll do that.
Chris has.
The most dangerous roads in the whole of the world are British motorways. That is my sincere belief. Not because of the speed, because you can't get up speed on the British motorway because you're stuck behind a dick in a caravan. Do you know, I found this out. 1 in 5 families in this country goes caravanning. Why? What makes a family who don't get on in a normal-sized house believe that squeezing themselves into a tin for a fortnight is going to improve matters? It's such a self-deluding activity, which for me is symbolised by that. You know that 5-foot-long wing mirror, the attachable wing mirror the dad puts on the car? Well, I have to see what's behind me. It's of paramount importance that at all moments I can see what is behind me. Oh, for goodness sake, just paste a picture of a traffic jam on there, because that's what's behind you. You don't need to look to see what's behind you. It's there because you are. So the government, they're boring, right? The motorways are boring, and the government puts up those signs to stop us falling asleep, saying, "TARDIS can kill, take a break." But the thing is, we're not surprised by those signs anymore, so they don't really work. I think they have to keep changing them. I think they should change those signs to keep us on our toes. Change them to ones that say, "Deja vu can kill, take a break," and then one exactly the same, half a mile.
OK, let's spin the wheel again. Our next topic is politics. Who wants to come in on that? Any persons?
So, we have a Liberal-Conservative coalition. It makes no sense, does it? 2 words that mean completely opposite things. It would be like having the Whig-Baldy coalition or having voted for the no-swearing arse party. We have a new Foreign Secretary, William Hague. I don't think he's going to be taken seriously, is he? Every time he goes to Afghanistan, they're just going to think, oh, it's Ross Kemp on another undercover show. I mean, at the moment, you know, we'll never know, will we, exactly how much Bigotgate affected the election result. Why didn't Gordon Brown just answer Gillian Duffy's question? All she said was, "Those Eastern Europeans, where are they coming from?" Now, even I could have answered that question.
Thank you very much, Andy Parsons. OK, that leaves us with Mickey. Let's see what topic you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. And the topic is food. Oh, here you go.
Now, this is one of my favourite topics because I absolutely hate restaurants. And my wife loves restaurants. She's middle class. She's been skiing and everything. And she loves a restaurant. She says, "Can we go to a restaurant at the weekend?" And I say, "Yes, we can." And we're there. We're barely there 2 minutes. And she's like, "Isn't it a lovely ambiance?" And I say to her, "I don't know what you're talking about." I've worked out what an ambiance is. It's a night out about poor people, isn't it, basically? It's people with a few quid to say, "Can we just have one night out about the poor people turning up? You know what they're like. They'll be banging spoons together, singing Mailman's a Dustman, creating an atmosphere. We want an ambiance." So we try and enjoy the ambiance. But something's happened spoiling it for me. There's no tomato sauce on the table. Creating a situation when my wife looked at me, she said, "You're going to ask for tomato sauce, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, I am, because I'm going to have the risotto." You can't eat risotto without red sauce, it's too dry. It's a health and safety issue. You've got to zhuzh it up with a bit of red sauce, right? So I thought, I'm not having it. I said to the waitress, "Excuse me, do you have any ketchup in the building?" She's looked at me like I'm the worst pleb God has ever put breath in. She went off to the kitchen and I saw her making her way back with a pot about that big, about 2 chipfuls of tomato sauce. I thought, oh, here we go. She's tried to put it down and walk away like she's doing a drug deal or something. And I stopped her. I said, "Hold on, love, don't rush off." And I took a sip of it. And I looked at her, I said, "Yes, I'll have a bottle, please."
Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Well done. And that point, to Mickey Flanagan. Well done. Our next round is called Newsreel. We play in a recent piece of footage featuring people in the news and ask you to suggest what might be being said. OK, here we go.
Oh, yes. I bet you're glad to see me again. I'm loving not being Prime Minister, but some old habits do die hard, so you're a bigot. You're a bigot. Yep, you're a bigot. So how are you, Nick? You OK? You enjoying yourself? Well, actually, now you come and mention it. No, I'm not. I'm actually bloody pissed off. What did I mention? Well, it's this coalition thing, isn't it? I mean, really, I'm just a lackey, aren't I? I'm just a lackey. I mean, even my own children are calling me Smithers. Yeah. Oh, hello, dear. Hello, dear. Are you in here to keep out of the cold? Only, I'm going to have to move you along because the Queen's coming along in a minute. Yeah, no, don't worry. I know exactly who you are. Only joking, yeah. Yeah, and come the revolution, this is where you'll be tried. You'll go down this staircase, avoiding the rotten tomatoes thrown by the baying protesters. And you're a lawyer. I want you to defend me on 4 counts of inciting racial hatred and 156 of cruelty to animals. So, oh, hello. Oh, I say. Oh, yes, lovely. Hang on a minute. I've just got to think of something inappropriate to say. And, no, I've got it. Who fancies a threesome?
Well done, here. Thank you very much. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Mickey, which category would you like?
Home news,
OK.
please.
Your category is home news. The answer is obesity, warts and indigestion. What is the question?
Is it the original title of Sex in the City 2?
Is it what do you get if you eat one of the hairy bikers?
Is it what's the worst possible police call sign? Charlie Delta Foxtrot, this is obesity, warts, indigestion. Man down, enema piles, kazoos, hit the dirt.
What 3 words are circled in Bob Geldof's book of baby names?
Name 3 things you can't get rid of by going Expelliarmus.
Is it what are the top 3 paint colours in Dulux's Broken Britain range?
What do you get if you eat a pizza while shagging a toad?
What did you not put before GSOH in a Lonely Hearts Act?
What have I, at one time in my life, claimed my semen can cure?
Yeah, really, have you?
Yeah, funnily enough, obesity is the one they fall for most often.
Is it what can you catch just by watching an episode of Embarrassing Bodies?
It's one of that programme, isn't it? Why do they go on telly? Oh, my arse is green. Can you put a camera on it so all my mates can see me on telly with a green arse?
The presumption is that if I admit to a green arse, then everyone will go, oh, thank God you were brave and said, because I also have a green arse. Nobody has a green arse. You're the only one. That's all you've proven, is that you're the only one with a green arse. Oh, sorry.
What are 3 of the reasons people have claimed incapacity benefit?
That's absolutely right. Thank you very much, Jeff. Very good. Yes, the question I was looking for was, what ailments have been given as reasons for being unfit to work by incapacity claimants? The coalition government is aiming to reduce the £12.5 billion incapacity benefit bill. It's now likely that many of the 2.6 million people on incapacity will have to be retested.
Some people have been claiming that they are too fat to work.
Yes.
And you're thinking, well, you know, there must be some jobs where being very large would be a bonus. Such things as maybe England goalkeeper.
Among the things that people claim for include stress, was mentioned, dizziness, anxiety, that's all fine. Hemorrhoids, coughs.
Hemorrhoids?
Hemorrhoids.
What, do they work as a pogo tester or something?
Blisters.
Surely, though, if you're suffering from hemorrhoids, all you need to do is get a job where you're standing up. And if you're suffering from blisters, you need to get a job where you're sitting down. So surely all we need to do is pair up the hemorrhoid and blister people and get them to swap jobs.
What a fun meeting that'll be.
How is the government planning to cut down on these payments?
They said they were going to make disability tests tougher. What does that mean? They're going to tip people out of a wheelchair and put them on total wipeout?
In other news, why were these 2 men in the headlines this week?
This star is the longest tennis game ever, I believe.
No wonder it was so long. Look, neither of them even has a racket.
So 76, what are the names?
Isner and Mahout.
Isner and Mahout.
Sounds like something Scottish people say. Isn't it a Mahout? I've no idea. I'm a stranger here myself.
The press called it the longest game, but presumably it was also the dullest game.
If they played any longer, then they would have synchronised their menstrual cycles.
Did you watch any of it, though? Just kept going. Oh, you're watching it, just go, oh, finish, just end, just stop. I felt like Sting's wife. Make it stop.
And the best thing about it, because two of them are completely unknown. So the commentator, God love the commentator, who had no little nuggets about the two of them because they hadn't done anything. And they're going, oh, tall guy again. Oh, the little French guys won that one. I got nothing. Get me out of here.
It's so boring. What they need, every time there's an ace, there should be a monkey in roller skates just wander on and go, ta-da! You know? Just to make it... I've got another idea. Whenever they go, new balls, please, the Krauls have won, has to go, oh, mate.
It went on so long, even the scoreboard broke down. When you come to the stage where the scoreboard can't cope, surely that's a sign that they should settle it with paper, scissors, stuff.
Apparently, the bloke who lost, when he met the guy at the net, he said, best of three.
What has happened to Russian lady tennis players? When I was a kid, right, if there was a Russian lady tennis player on and she got interviewed after the match and they go, that was great, you played really well, the Russian lady tennis player would go,
thank you very much.
The best thing about the female players, the noise they make when they hit the ball is extraordinary, isn't it? It makes you think, what do they sound like when they orgasm? If they make that noise when they hit a tennis ball, it must sound like someone's throwing a seal into a jet engine.
This always bugs me. There's no physical reason to make a noise while...
Sounds good, though, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound erotic, but there's no reason to it. Like, if you move a piano or something, or you're lifting suitcase, in that bit...
If the last move a piano.
OK, that's a good example. Do you know what it would be? It would be if on an airline check-in desk, right? You know that bit where you have to go... boom, and do that, like, whatever. Yeah. People don't go, boom, like that. That's the same, it's an impulse motion, like, whatever.
Wouldn't it be great if they did? Imagine snooker. Darts. That's what we like, a bit of grunting.
Oh, when you're playing drafts with a child. Bring me!
The Queen ought to make a noise every time she shakes someone's hand. There's also, you've got to feel a bit sorry for the Queen, because she went to Wimbledon for the first time in 33 years on that day, and she found that exactly the same match was still happening.
I just like the idea of the Queen sitting at the tennis going, I'm a stamp, I'm a coin, I'm a stamp, I'm a coin. At the end of that round, points go to Chris. Here, Mickey! Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics and then we'll see what our panelists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is unlikely things to hear at the World Cup.
I'll tell you what, that Nelson Mandela's a bit of a dick.
And on comes the sub for North Korea, and it's torpedoed the opposition.
Heskey scores!
And there they are, Scotland through to the final 16.
And we're a bit pushed for time this week, so both sides have been told to just play the highlights.
The last time I saw African kids this excited, Madonna was at their school with a net.
Well, it's very hard to tell with his legs at that angle, but no, that is definitely a Brazilian.
Yes, on the one hand, we lose the tournament, but on the plus side, he stole me out tonight.
That's right, Emmanuel Adebayor. I understand exactly what you just said.
And the English fans are taunting the American fans by holding up an oil-covered pelican.
Oh, goody, James Corden's show's on next.
England, of course, are being sponsored by Tesco Online, which is why John Terry has just been substituted by 3 ripe avocados.
And here we are on safari. There is a giraffe and an ostrich. I'm terribly sorry, it's Peter Crouch's parents.
England are playing fantastically. This is a splendid DVD of 1966.
And what a shame Ireland couldn't be here. But then Thierry Henry is a filthy, cheating, lying bitch.
You want carpets? Canadian Diego your carpet!
OK, the next topic is unlikely letters to television channels.
Dear Channel 5, your recent documentary on dyslexia was insightful and sensitive. Please show The Boy with Shit for Brains again.
As a terrorist, I have been watching Countdown with interest. It is rubbish. Nothing happens.
Dear News 24, go to bed.
Dear Babe Station, have you actually read the trade description of that?
Dear Bravo, I don't quite know how to put this, but well done.
Dear Channel 5, isn't it time you just called it a day? No one will mourn.
I'm writing to thank you. On Sunday afternoon, while I was watching television with my wife, I was urged to press the red button. I did, and my wife had her first orgasm in 40 years.
Dear Al Jazeera, please bring back your hit sitcom, Men Behaving Baghdadly.
Dear History Channel, the Nazis were bad. We get it.
Dear Hallmark, roses are red, violets are blue, your cards are shit, and your channel is too.
Dear Channel 4, why don't you pricks book me for any of your shows?
Dear Sky Sports -1, thank you for showing the Grand National. I won £100,000.
Dear Points of View, who should I complain to if I think Points of View is shit?
Dear Fiver, if I give you a tenner, will you please stop broadcasting?
Dear Channel 4, why not liven up Deal or No Deal by putting a nail bomb in one of the boxes?
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Russell, Ed and Andy! That's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard. Commiserations to Chris Anson, Hugh Dennis and Mickey Flanagan. Thank you for watching. I'm Darryl Breen. Good night.
New comedy for BBC Three now. Give it a try. It's cheeky tearaway Lee Nelson's Well Good Show.
Welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara Breen. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Zoe Lyons and Russell Howard, Sean Walsh, Hugh Dennis and Milton Jones. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a typical picture of Peter Mandelson. But what does MBAL stand for?
Is it Mandelson blatantly a lizard?
Is it my briefs are leather?
Is it everything he enjoys? Is it muckraking, bullshitting and leaving?
It's actually his nicknames for Brown and Blair. It's Man Boobs and Ladyboy.
Is it just a list of his favourite things? Is it millionaires, billionaires, aristocrats and lords?
Is it Mandelson Burns Adorable Labradors?
Is it... It's just a joke. He's not actually doing it.
Is it just simply Mr. Bond at last?
I know what this is. It's what he requested on Desert Island Discs. It was Michael Bublé and lubrication.
How gutted would he be if lubrication were like a jazz band?
I reckon it's Mykonos, booked already, love.
Mandelson Burns a leprechaun?
Certainly not.
Sorry.
I look out for you all. I look out for you all. No one will be burning you on my watch. Oh no, I've slipped into a stereotype. I'd like to apologise to the people of Ireland. The correct answer is
Mandelson's book, Anger's Labour.
Congratulations, very good. Well done. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Mandelson's book, Anger's Labour. This is a story that Lord Mandelson's newly published memoirs have rocked the Labour Party by revealing how little faith the Cabinet had in Gordon Brown and by revisiting the war between Blair and Brown.
But the thing is, like, have you read any of it? We were promised juicy gossip. That's what he said. What was the first revelation? Brown and Blair don't get on. Really? We want juicy details. What I want to know is how mad was Brown towards the end of the election? I bet you there was one day where they found him in his room, surrounded by dead weasels, and he was just dressed as Lady Gaga.
But then the various members of the Labour Party said they were going to try and stop him publishing his memoirs, but of course the only way to stop Mandelson is a little bit of garlic and a stake through the heart. That man is so oily that if he went for a swim in the Atlantic, BP would be off the hook.
Hang on a minute. Mandelson appears to be dressed as the compere the meerkat for some reason.
Yeah, this is the notion that he advertised them. They were serialised in the Times, and they advertised them for it. Pitched as a fairy tale. There were these two mighty kings and then an evil... Who are we in this situation? Are we the villagers in this story? I am Shrek, I know. I'm an idiot. I know where I fit in the fairy tale scheme.
It's weird to think he's the son of Nelson Mandela.
Grandad, we love you. I find it really difficult to take seriously because that bit, I don't know if you've seen the advert, but he says, "Are you sitting comfortably?" And the trouble is, I was thinking of my mate Tom at school. So he was about 7, and the teacher went, "Are you sitting comfortably?" He went, "Not really, miss, I've got worms."
What do we find out about the coalition negotiations, though? I mean, let's there were some revelations.
There was. We found
Clegg
out apparently that Clegg told Brown he had to go.
Yes.
But it hasn't done Clegg any favours, is it? He's now more unpopular than he's ever been. He couldn't have been more unpopular if he'd formed a coalition with North Korea, Fabio Capello and Piers Morgan.
Yes, Clegg was the executioner. Clegg went to the meeting and told Brown, "You have to go." And Brown said, "I will only stay for a year." Then he said, "I'll go in October." Then he said, "I'll just hang around for the transition until we get a new leader." It was literally short to the point where we're going, "Go!" And he's going, "You'll not notice me. I'll just be in the corner. Don't make me go, no, just hover. I'll be going, I'm not even here. I'm not even here."
What we wanted to know is, what pranks did Brown leave behind? Because he would totally mess around. If cameras come in, he'd like, right, cling foam over every toilet seat, Change all the phone numbers to sex lines, put some prawns in the curtains, everyone stand back, I'm going to curl one out on the desk. You wouldn't, that's the first thing I'd do.
All the others are pranks. All the others are like, oh, but pooing on the desk is not a prank.
You are massively reducing your chances of ever selling a house.
Which senior Conservative has come under attack this week?
This is Michael Gove.
Yeah. It is Michael Gove.
They're delightful.
He's a very weird-looking man. He looks to me like a cross between Skeletor, E.T. and Stewie from The Family Guy.
He looks like a balloon whose corks come out and you can expect him to go around the room going...
He's basically produced a list of schools that are actually going to lose their buildings or they aren't going to have new buildings built. And turned out it had 25 mistakes on it. Now, as the Education Secretary, I think he should write that list out 100 times until he gets it right.
How has David Cameron irritated teachers this week?
Because he said that he's terrified of state schools. He's terrified of sending his kids to state... Which is fair enough, because if Michael Gove carries on the way he is, quite a lot of them are going to be structurally quite dangerous.
What he needs to do is to get Nick Clegg's son at the same school as his son, and then David Cameron's son would have a little servant.
They did reveal, didn't they, that apparently only 18 teachers in the last 40 years have actually been sacked. And you're thinking, well, that's an amazing thing. They'll have to change that saying, won't they? You know, those who can do, those who can't teach, and those who can't teach, they teach as well.
But one this week, one from Ofsted let slip that she thinks it's an excellent thing for bad
this
teachers.
is incredible.
That's right. She said, didn't she, that every school needs one shit teacher. And you're thinking, if that's the case, we have got a lot of schools that are centres for excellence.
The phrase, it was an Ofsted woman called Zena Atkins of Ofsted who's quoted in the Sunday Times as saying, one really good thing about primary school is that every kid learns to deal with a really shit teacher. Adding, every grown-up in a workplace needs to learn to deal with the moron who sits 4 desks down.
It's the first time that people can get a job whilst telling the truth on their CV. Interested in hobbies, drinking... Why do you want this job? So I can pay my bills and get Sky Plus. And why do you think you're good for this job? I'm not. I'm shit both on my own and as part of the team.
How can you be a bad primary school teacher, you know? All you've got to do is a bit of a collage and read them a book.
But I also remember there's a lot of going to sleep on the desk, where they get the entire class. I don't know if this happened here, where they get the entire class to put their head on their hands for a long period of time. And you just had your head there, and they're going, hang on, what was that? What was that a hangover thing? Was that like you heard just going, I'm sick of these asshole kids, right?
But apparently it teaches you to deal with incompetence. That's what she's saying. Because if you know what incompetence is when you're at primary school, you're 7 years old. You know, when I was 7, I wanted to be a cat. You know? I can't deal with incompetence. You believe anything an adult says. My mate, right, his mum had a lock on a cupboard underneath the stairs. She told him there was a bear under the stairs. Whenever he was naughty, she'd get a key out, go towards him, like, And years later, he finally opened it. He was about 14. He was genuinely going, what if there is a bear? So that thing, like, it's not a bear, it might be a bear. Went in, there wasn't a bear. So you know what he did? Generally true, right? He got some rope and a bear costume, and it made it look like the bear had hung himself and then locked the cupboard.
Do you know what that is? That is a prank, my friend. The points again, and go to Russell, Zoe and Andy. Our next round is called Newsreel. We play on a recent piece of footage featuring people in the news and ask Hugh to suggest what might be being said. This week's clip features Boris Johnson and David Cameron.
In this time of cuts, I tell you who really should be cut is that bloody David Cameron. Completely useless, not nearly posh enough. Oh, bollocks. I do hope you didn't hear what I was...
Yes, I did, actually, Boris. Try not to walk into that wall. I'm more of an idiot than you are. Remember our deal. Try not to say anything for the next 4 years. Off you go.
Well, I would, but somebody stole my bloody bike. Where's my bike? I left my bike here. The old ball breaker, you know, the old bone crusher. Where's my bike? Somebody really ought to sort out bike crime in this city. Who do I talk to?
Off you go, Boris. Off you go. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you, too. Incidentally, I've cut your pension by 90%. Yes, you barely have enough to live on, but remember, we share your pain. I wonder if Samantha's cooked quail for lunch. Hang on a second. No, I got that right up my crack. So, I'm just going to go over here. I tell you what, I'm tremendous on this thing. I'm like, I could burn it. Do you see that bloke in the orange, yeah? I'm going to burn him up that much, yes, yes. Now, I don't need a helmet because a bump on the head would probably do me good. Bloody hell. There's a lot of traffic. Someone should sort that out. Who wants an Oyster card? Tally-ho. Here we go.
Now we play a round called Who Will Win? Let Paul the Moctopus decide. This game involves Milton, Zoe and Sean, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launch the wheel of news, and wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. OK, here we go. The first subject, please. The first subject is transport. Who wants to come in on that? Sean.
I have to get the trains a lot in what I do. Not those trains, they're a bit newer. I should point out, but I have to get the trains a lot, and it can be difficult on Sundays, this country's Sunday service. Now, for those of you that haven't used the trains on Sundays, I'll explain to you how it works. Basically, you pay for a train, you get a bus. So, sorry, if you can't give me a train, don't give me something shitter, dickhead. Get me a helicopter. You don't get this with any other form of transport. Imagine. Hi, can I have a taxi, please?
I'm afraid not, but Pete could be rounded a bit to give you a piggyback.
Remember those old black and white films where the bad guy would, like, tie a woman to a train track, wait for the train to run her over? You won't get that now, would you? It'd be a crap film. Just be some bloke tying a woman to a train track, standing there like a mug whilst the bus drives past.
OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is holidays. Who wants to come in on that? Zoe.
I always think when it comes to holidays, why go to the effort and expense of going abroad when you can have just as disappointing experience in this country? Of course, for the more adventurous, you've got the outdoor holidays. Outdoor activities always seem like a good idea. Of course, they rarely are. I think kayaking is an ancient Indian word that means this will be fun for about 2 minutes. I actually went camping last year for the first time in my life. Went camping for 5 days in England. It rained for 5 days. I didn't get a tan, I got mould. You know, when you come back from holiday and people go, nice colour, I go, do you like it? That's moss. I have grown moss. I thought, the next time I feel like going camping, I will just stay at home for 5 days and not have a shit or a shower.
OK, that leaves us with Milton. Let's see what we've been left with. So let's spin the wheel. Relationships, Milton.
Sometimes I think I should settle down and have a mature relationship, but then I think to myself, it's the middle of the conker season. Never give up your seat for a lady. That's how I lost my job as a bus driver. I owe my mum. She told me there was a bear living under the stairs. My parents came up last weekend, because I keep them in the cellar. That's not true. I don't know who they are. I got home from work the other day and my wife was wearing this slinky number, which only really worked when she went downstairs. Recently, we bought the box set of Doctor Who and watched it back to back. Unfortunately, I wasn't the one facing the screen.
Thank you very much, children. Paul Gregor and Milton Jones. Pass it down. Our next round is called This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Zoe, which category would you like?
Sport.
OK, your category is sport. The answer is 15. What is the question?
How many times a night does goalkeeper Robert Green wake up screaming?
Is it how many inanimate objects has Gaza spoken to today?
Is it if 5 pieces of fruit a day keep you healthy, how many will give you diarrhoea?
Is it... What age do you have to be to think that the films Twilight are anything other than shit?
Is it,
I actually think they speak to me.
Is it how many gallons of oil are now left under the Gulf of Mexico?
Is it how many magic biscuits are there in the magic biscuit tree?
I love that to be the right answer, I really would. But in fact, there are 19 magic biscuits in a magic biscuit tree.
Is it how many minutes a different girl receives a text with a picture of Ashley Cole's knob?
What factor sunscreen would Dale Winton take with him if he was going on holiday for a week to the centre of the sun?
What an amazing wish you were here that would be.
How many crisps are there in a packet of kettle chips?
How many
An amazing argument the other day in Tesco. This woman said to her husband, "You've got the wrong crisps. I wanted kettle crisps. What will our neighbours think of us?" How weird is that? Like someone's going to go around their house and go, "Marie's dead to me. Monster Munch." Monster Munch. Crisps. No one's fussed, does
That would be a top-quality mistake if you were sent to buy kettle crisps for a dinner party and you brought back Monster Munch. They're just the same. They're shaped like a monster. Big little feet and everything. There's a cartoon monster. What kind of dinner party do you think I'm trying to throw here?
You're not going to like these Alpha Bites either.
The weird thing with the Monster Munch is between its toes was where all the flavour was. That was the bit that kind of creeped me out. It's like...
How did you discover that?
You lick the flavour off the crisps. What? You don't do that?
Well,
I'm sorry. This is the way you do things here. Oh, I didn't know I was among royalty now.
Quiet time now, Dara. Quiet time.
I think I actually know the answer to this. How many cards were given during the World Cup final match?
You're absolutely right. Well done, Zoe. That's right. Yes, the question I was looking for was how many cards did Howard Webb show during the World Cup final in South Africa? English referee Howard Webb showed a record 15 cards in the final, which is one of the dirtiest, most bad-tempered ever. He brandished 14 yellows and 1 red as the Dutch and the Spanish set into each other.
You know when the final whistle blew, the World Cup, if you listened, you could hear the sound of women ripping down wall charts and remotes going, "Yes!" as men go, "Our time is over."
Which lucky pundit managed to have a 100% success rate, though?
Oh, that would be Paul the Octopus.
It would, of course, be Paul the Octopus.
It says something about the quality of the football at the World Cup, that the star of the World Cup is an octopus star.
But given that it is essentially one animal eating another animal, it is an act of, it was like they put lobster, mussels or oysters in?
Mussels.
And you have to go in and eat the mussel. I mean, it is essentially no different to had they gone, we've got 2 goats, and we've given a flag of Spain on one and a flag of Germany on the other, now release the lion! And then whichever one Simba carries off squealing. It wouldn't be quite as appealing to watch. Oh, no! Spain, OK, grand.
What was fantastic about it, though, was that he predicted that Germany would lose in the semi-final.
Yeah.
And he got death threats from Germany, and the Spanish Prime Minister offered him safe haven. He said, "Come to Spain." And I would just one word of warning to Paul the Octopus: paella.
Paul the Octopus actually comes from Weymouth. He's one of ours. He's one of ours. The thing was, when he was here, he could predict absolutely nothing because he wasn't given the right training at a young age.
So basically, he's a celebrity octopus now.
Yeah.
He's the coolest octopus on the planet. He can go back into the ocean now, and all the female octopuses are going to love him.
Yeah.
He's like this pimp.
Yeah.
No, you could go back in and be like, yo, girls, how are you? How are you? How are you? I want all the uptown pussy. The thing is, it's celebrity, so that means, like, in sort of like 10 years' time on ITV4 or something, they'll have after they were famous. And it'll just be a plate of sushi.
Just him with a fag predicting scores, just, really down, really like Division 4 results.
You see him outside China White just vomiting on the pavement.
3 cigarettes on the go, one of them picking balls out for a lottery.
Just hanging out with Dean Gaffney. Gaffney's the only one.
OK, what have the US been swapping with Russia this week?
Oh, spies, Dara.
Yeah,
it's all
proper
kicking
spies.
off.
Really good spies.
They were good spies. They were
great.
rubbish spies. They were as good at spying as Brian Blessed is at whispering. Some of the spies in Russia, they had kids, and their kids had no idea they were spies. And they're living in Middle America. Imagine that, from Middle America to Russia. Middle America, Hannah Montana, Disney. Russia, Vladimir, the boy that fights the bear.
We still needed spies, to be honest.
That is the major issue.
With Google and Wikipedia, I thought you could just find everything out these days. Well, I was quite surprised we actually have to go to the effort of invisible ink. That's how far it's moved on as well. They were working in invisible ink. What next? 2 cans on a piece of string? Like, you hear me?
From the side, from the 2 cans of piece of string in a cafe where everyone else is using Wi-Fi, going, why are they using string?
You know when they're using invisible ink, how do they know when their pens run out?
Didn't they have to... There was a code word, and he basically had to go up to somebody and go, excuse me, didn't I meet you last April in Bangkok? And that could be embarrassing if you got the wrong person, couldn't it? They're going, oh, did it involve a Coke bottle and some ping-pong balls?
Not you as well, Mel. They were difficult times.
I think you'll find that modern spying no longer works like that.
You're basing this opinion on the one time they asked you to be a spy, aren't you?
No, I went for a spy interview, yeah.
And what did they ask you, the spy interview?
Did it start...
Well, they basically went, would you like to be a spy?
How did they come? Did a man walk up to you? Was there a letter?
I got approached by someone at university who said, would you be interested in intelligence? I said, yes, I'd like to have some. And I went down for an interview in London, and during this, I decided I didn't really want to be a spy, and I turned it down.
That was your final year at uni?
Yeah.
My final year at uni, the highlight of it, I lost my football in a hedge. I went into the hedge, and there was a Bristolian man in there going, get your own hedge.
My crazy dream is that we find out that after tonight's show, the recording, Hugh goes home and goes into the house and hangs up his coat, and then he turns on the light, and then there's a man just sitting in a chair going, "It's not a laughing matter, Mr. Dennis." I think it's amusing to talk about it now. At the end of that round, the points go to Sean, Hugh, and Milton. OK, now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics, and then we'll see what our panellists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is bad things to say on a first date.
The last time I was in this nightclub, I was still a man.
I've bought some condoms, and in preparation, I've got one on already.
Yes, I know it's only dinner, but unless you sign this prenup, you're not getting any.
My last girlfriend asked if I could play Smoke on the Water, so I threw a toaster in her bath.
Oh, I see. So when you put bubbly on the advert, you meant fat.
You've got good hips. Let me see your teeth. We'll take her.
Actually, during the day, I'm something really high up in the city.
Well, so anyway, listen, that's enough about me. Tell me about your sister.
OK, I did crop my Facebook photo so as you couldn't see my conjoined twin.
Whoa! How pissed was I when I asked you out?
Not as pissed as I was when I said yes.
I want a baby now!
There's nothing you can do about it. I know I'm gonna shag you.
My dating history, yeah. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived.
Very good. OK. The next topic is unlikely lines to hear in a disaster movie.
From the makers of Snakes on a Plane comes Snails in a Caravan.
I want you to upload the schematic to my PDA.
I need you to send the picture to my mobile.
Ambassador Thrall, are you telling me that intergalactic war occurred? Because one of your people said, I'm going to the shops, do you want something? And another one replied, yes, get me a galaxy.
Men, we are heavily surrounded, but don't worry. Gaza has arrived with some chicken and a fishing rod.
It's one story of terror. It's Bungalow Inferno.
Listen to me. I want you to take the kids. I want you to go to your mother's. You'll be safe there. I'm going to stay here and shag the nanny.
The boat is sinking. There's not enough lifeboats. And the worst thing of all, Celine Dion is singing the theme tune.
There is a house in New Orleans.
The Martians landed at around 4 a.m. in Bracknell. Went and left again.
The ship is sinking. I don't care. I'm a duck.
Yeah, just press that, it'll be all right.
This is a virus like we have never encountered. 50% of the population will be debilitated completely. The other half will be able to carry on as normal. Gentlemen, this is man flu.
Do you not realise, if this contagion spreads, the entire X Factor judging panel could be wiped out?
OK, at the end of that, the points go to Russell, Zoe and Andy. And that's the end of the show. This week's winner. I don't know who this week's winners are. Who do you think this week's winners are? Should they be? This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Zoe Lyons, and Russell Howard. Commiserations to Sean Walsh, Hugh Dennis, and Milton Jones. Thank you for watching. I'm Darren Green. Good night.
Check out the new BBC Comedy websites full of exclusive clips from top talent and up-and-coming comedians. And on BBC Three now, South London's favourite geezer, Lee Nelson, with more cheeky comedy. It's well good.
and welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara O'Brien. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard, Chris Addison, Hugh Dennis and Stuart Francis. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of the Prime Minister, David Cameron. But what does CABS stand for?
Is it country's arms budget shrunk? And you just sort of stand in front of the Taliban and go bang, bang.
It's his ultimate fantasy. It's caviar and Beyonce shaven.
Is he playing a game he used to play as a kid? It's actually CABs. It's a game he used to play as a child. Cowboys and butlers.
Is it Clegg? Another bacon sandwich.
Is it child, adultery, Boris, shit?
Is it Cameron attempts black solidarity?
Is it taxi? No, cabs.
I'm so stupid. It's his ultimate. He's actually pointing at a lady in the street, cracking arse, boobs, satisfactory.
Is it charmless aristocrat buggers society?
Is it...
That's right, that's it.
That was such a lovely response. That sounds like something we should clap at.
Is it conceited, arrogant, boring shitehawk?
It's still there. Shitehawk is an excellent word.
That's a great word. Is that an Irish thing?
It's a very Irish word, yes. You may have it as a gift.
Does it actually exist?
It does, yeah, shitehawk.
There's such a thing as a shitehawk.
No, there isn't an actual bird called a shitehawk.
Amazing episode of Springwatch if you shot one.
Please, correct answer if we could.
I think it's Cameron announces Big Society, Don.
Well done, Hugh. Thank you very much. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Cameron announces Big Society. This is a story that Prime Minister David Cameron has formally launched his Big Society Manifesto pledge, which he claims will put the oomph back into communities. Speaking in Liverpool, Cameron confirmed that the Big Society would empower communities, allowing them to run libraries and post offices, manage transport services and shape housing projects. How is he planning on liberating society?
See, oomph. That's not even a word. And you want to put oomph back in communities. Yeah. Yes, I'd like to make hospitals a bit more ha-cha-cha-cha. Hey, the whole schools building programme was wah, 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 wah.
I think a government entirely done by sound effect would be great. Yes, I will be coming to a place near you. Clippity-clop, clippity-clop.
But in fact, the weird thing about it is that the Conservatives are all about choice, and yet they're only offering one size of society.
Do you want to go large? But the thing is, people don't want to work for free, do they? Nobody... Like, he needs to dangle some form of carrot. Like, if you volunteer, every one of you can kick Jeremy Kyle in the nads. Sweet, I'll do that. If you volunteer, I'll make a TV show that's just Kelly Brook jumping up and down on a trampoline. Sweet, we'll do that. If you work really hard, I'll kill the Go Compare man. That's what we need. Some form of incentive to make us work.
I guess his phrase like empowering. Empowering is the kind of phrase, 19-year-old models use when they appear in the zoo. Like, it's kind of, I feel very empowered by my ability to get me Norks out.
They never say it like that.
They don't quite use Norks and empowering in the same sentence, but it's the same rhetorical flourish that they use, like whatever. But it is just basically, listen, we can't afford, we don't want to get involved in this. Let's give it some busybodies in your area to start narking.
But don't give it to us. Don't make us run it. Have you met us? We're idiots. We don't believe we're idiots. We accidentally voted in a Tory government. That is genuinely idiotic.
But Chris is totally right. You can't trust us. We're the British public are odd, aren't we? Like, I sometimes pick up a Coke can in Tesco for no reason, shake it, and then put it back. Don't give me any responsibility.
I'm not really sure what the parallel is there. If I let you run a school, would you just walk in every so often, pick up one of the children and go...
I mean, if he's so keen on volunteering, how come he gets paid 180 grand a year? Why doesn't he give his services for free? I'd quite happily do that job for no money, because I've heard the expenses are quite tidy.
That's saying we're all in this together. That's what's so difficult to listen to. You've got this multi-millionaire going, we're all in this together. Cameron, comparing his plight to that of the British people, is like me stubbing my toe and going, I feel just like Heather Mills. There is...
Do you find stubbing your toe makes you want to rip off a beetle?
Cameron, basically, he was going on about, wasn't he, about this village pub, that they'd enabled it to keep it open. And you're thinking, keeping open a village pub, that's not the big society, that's a lock-in.
In a way, it's that rolling back the state. I wasn't aware that the state ran rural pubs. I didn't think that was a... If there was a state-run pub, you would not go in it. Barman number 5, please.
Do you know how he's funding this, though?
How is
the fascinating thing about how he's funding it is that he started this thing, which is the most childish thing that you could ever imagine, called the Big Society Bank, which sounds like it should be in Balamory or something. It's the Big Society Bank. Apparently, the government owns all the money in bank accounts if they've been dormant for 15 years, which is extraordinary, because do they own everything that's been dormant for 15 years? Like Kerry Katona's brain, Emil Heskey's right foot, and almost the whole of Anne Widdecombe.
Essentially, he wants to pay for it using the money of the dead. Like a financial zombie army will sweep across, opening post office. We should get a stamp.
Well, surely, Dora, the thing is, what if someone's been in a coma? Imagine that, right? You haven't used your bank account for 15 years. You wake up, you're like, oh, where's my money? He spends it on a knitting museum in Cumbria. And he's like, oh, well, at least I can watch Friday Night with Jonathan Ross.
In other news, what's going on here?
This is Cameron and Obama having a chat, and Obama's just saying to him, you call me Soul Man one more time, white boy.
Is it what happening is Obama's going, thank goodness you've arrived. I've had around 30 calls from a Mr. Clegg going, I can't find the keys to number 10.
Is it not just going, so, David, I understand your ancestors made their fortune in cotton and sugar?
I was just wondering if Cameron was explaining to Obama how his upbringing has prepared him for dealing with the oil spill. Well, we make a mess, and then the black chap cleans it up.
Is it Cameron and Barack Smooch? Are we still playing that game?
No, we've moved on. No, it is David Cameron meeting President Obama on his official 2-day visit to the US.
Yeah. Cameron said he's going to stand up to the US, and you're like, no, you're not. There's more chance of Danny Dyer being the new host of QI.
It is worth noting, by the way, that under the new Big Society initiative, we have to run all the post offices, but he's still the one who gets to go to America and meet Obama. I don't see his committee members from Liverpool who are running the local libraries going, oh, great, we get to go to America. Oh, great, Big Society.
Maybe that would be a good idea, though, because actually the problem with standing up to America is we keep sending posh people. Maybe we should actually be sending people from Scouse Estates, where we're not really happy about the Al McGrahy thing. Oh, are you not? Come here, then. Let's take it outside. Come on, then, big lad. You know happy. Let's go.
It's just a scheduled visit, isn't it? There's nothing particularly special about this visit. But the problem for Cameron is the BP are apparently involved in the release of Al McGrahy by the Scottish government.
Let's take the word allegedly into there.
Okay.
BP, I'd imagine, have 1 or 2 lawyers, possibly. Being something of a large corporation.
And they're slick lawyers.
Yeah.
The American government...
I imagine the latest BP spillage is their lawyer going...
It's really funny, because Cameron said that the release of Al McGrahy was nothing to do with oil, and you're like, yeah, and Mel Gibson's just a social drinker.
He went on National Public Radio, Cameron, to speak about this, and he said that McGrahy should have died in jail. So we're pointing out he's not actually dead yet, but he should have died in jail, and that he blamed Scotland. So actually, he said BP weren't to blame, Scotland were to blame. So actually, sorry, BP is worth more to Britain than Scotland.
the two things that are overshadowing are, you know, the links between Al McGrahy's release and BP, and there's also the BP oil spill. I kind of think BP could have killed two birds with one stone if they were able to plug the oil spill with Al McGrahy. That would be
They're worried. Basically, what's happened is they're worried the seepage. They've done that, and now they've got to do that. And now some more's coming out over there, and they've got to do that. And it's turning into a massive game of Twister, essentially.
It's like that. You just want the bit where they're sitting there going, "We've finally done it," in their office, and you hear.
Thank God.
Cut to shot of them going.
The only way they will manage to clear up that whole coastline is if there is a similarly catastrophic event at a nearby Sillet Bang rig. That's. Which could happen because Barry Scott does shout, doesn't he? Hi, I'm by God's sake! Fourth time in 8 months.
I've got no sympathy for BP, though. I mean, Tony Hayward, didn't he? He said when it came to the oil spill, it was tiny in proportion to the total water volume of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I tried a similar excuse when I had a piss in a swimming pool. Didn't me no good whatsoever.
And at the end of that round, the points go to Chris, Hugh and Stuart. Now we play a round called Eamon Holmes is Hungry for Jokes. This game involves Stuart, Ed and Andy, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launch the wheel of news, and wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. OK, here we go. The first subject is... pets. Who wants to come in on that? Ed.
Does it look like I'm being attacked by two animals? No, I have a theory, though, with pets. I have a theory. I feel that we treat animals better than we treat humans. Proof of this, we found a cat by our bins, and it looked hungry. Now it lives with us. That is proof that we treat animals better. You wouldn't do that with a person. You would go, all right, mate, you look a bit hungry. What are you doing by the bins? Do you want to come live in the house? Come live with us. Yeah, don't get a job, Ratton. We will buy you food and prepare it for you. In exchange for that, if you could just occasionally take a dump on the floor. That's it. Occasionally, just now and again, when I'm in the house on my own, if you could just jump on the back of my chair and frighten the shit out of me. In exchange for free bed and board. And the way it was sold to me that the cat was going to live with us was it would keep away the mice. But it doesn't keep away the mice. It doesn't. It brings mice in. Mice that live in a field near the house that had no intention of coming anywhere near the house. The cat brings in and plays with and then gets distracted. Ooh, a sunbeam. And lets him go. We have more mice in the house than we did before we got a cat. Can I put down poison for the mice? No, in case the cat eats it.
OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is sport. Who wants to come in that? Andy Parsons.
Does it look like I'm being attacked by two giant testicles? Now, Sepp Blatter, he has said he doesn't want technology in football. His reasoning being that he said he wanted the football at the highest level to be exactly the same as football at the lowest level. What a ridiculous argument that is. Surely then why bother in the World Cup to have goalposts at all? Why don't we just have jumpers? And instead of playing for 90 minutes, why don't we just play as long as possible before the kid who owns the ball wants to go home for his tea? And you wonder how well does Capello actually get on with the England players? Capello is into opera and art. How many of the England players do you think are actually into their art? The closest that Ashley Cole has come to a self-portrait is taking a photo of his knob.
Thank you very much, Andy Parsons. OK, that leaves us with Stuart. Let's see what topic we have. Let's spin the wheel. OK, the topic is leisure.
What's the deal with train spotters? I counted 27 of the losers today. My record's 41. My dad has a weird hobby. He collects empty bottles, which sounds so much better than alcoholic. want to write a mystery novel. Or do I? I've written a book about a transsexual with a speech impediment. It's titled Man or Myth. I like to go to bookstores and say to the clerk, hello, I'm looking for a book titled How to Deal with Rejection Without Killing. In my spare time, I like to fart on crowded lifts, which is wrong on so many levels.
Thank you very much, Joe. Well done. Price over, Stuart Francis. Everyone come back. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Chris, which category would you like?
Please, can we have health?
Okay, your category is health. The answer is 35 million a year. What is the question?
Is it how much money does the Queen get from the Royal Mail for being the face of stamps?
How many times a year does Katie Holmes think to herself, if I just make a run for it?
If you were the man who ate all the pies, how many pies would you be eating?
How often does the Scottish Justice Minister phone Al McGrahy's mobile hoping he doesn't pick up?
Is it how many times Dara Googles himself? And when I say Google, I mean masturbate.
How much would the UK government make if they pimped out Robert Patterson?
Just from that lady?
When you say pimped him out, you mean put, like, big rims on him?
No, we could do that, or we could just put him in a bus and let girls such as the lady that cheered then pay up to £100 to do what you want with him.
If you let me pay £100 to do what I want with him, that would be the end of him.
Talking about rims.
I think the trick is to let me go last.
Is it how much would it cost you if you stayed on a BT helpline long enough to get an answer to your fucking question?
Any correct answer?
It's about sick days, isn't it?
It is about sick days, yes.
It's how many sick days a year did the British population take?
That's absolutely right. Well done. Thank you very much. Hugh. Yes. And the question I was looking for was how many fake sick days do British workers take each year? According to a survey, Brits pull 35 million sickies every year, which is more than any other European country and accounts for over a quarter of the 122 million sick days taken across Europe.
To be honest, our football team took a month off in South Africa. Everyone's doing it.
35 million. That makes me sick. Can I go home?
Yeah, you can go home.
But
That's
you hear about somebody saying to you guys yesterday in the office. You weren't there, Dara, but what I was saying to the other guys.
Well, I had a very heavy cold. One of those summer things that's going around at the moment.
It's very difficult to feign a sick day, because you might start off pretending, but by the time you watch Jeremy Kyle and 4 Hours of Antiques programmes, you are feeling genuinely ill.
Is that we like drinking, don't we, in this country? And, you know, a lot of firms, they have one day a week where you can turn up to work wearing whatever clothes you like, and they call them casual days. I think we should also have one day a week where you can turn up to work in a right old state, and they should call them smell like a badger days.
It's interesting, though, taking a day off as a man is tricky because you have to be very inventive. You have to, I've got diphtheria, I've got lurgy, I can't see, I've got blurred vision, I've got a throat. As a lady, very easy. All you have to say is, women's problems. Whoa! my apologies. Take the week off. Oh, you know, you can't do that as a bloke. I've got man problems. Well, stop touching it then.
But we're all self-employed, so there's no point us throwing sickies, is there? You know, there's no point phoning up yourself, leaving a message on your answer phone, I can't come in, then retrieving your message, realising you're ill and going to bed.
OK, John's story struck me during the week. This, you may not have seen one. It was a story in Ireland in the Evening Herald in Dublin last week. And it's quite a moving story. It's about Alzheimer's disease.
Oh.
It was, yeah. And the story basically was being a big head may be good for you. Scientists found that large-headed individuals with Alzheimer's have better memory and thinking skills than sufferers with small heads. All of which is quite interesting. You see, next paragraph I found difficult to take. People with larger than average heads, like comedian Dara Ó Briain, appear to be better protected if they develop Alzheimer's disease, as studies suggest. Now, that would be all right if it wasn't for that. Like, the article actually came with a giant photograph of me next to the article, under the word big head, that protected at that time. Written underneath that was extra large : report is good news for Dara O'Brien. No, it's not. It's not good news, because I suddenly realised I've got a big head apparently.
What do you mean you've suddenly realised?
What do you mean you suddenly realised? Dara, protect us from the Alzheimer's.
Forget about it. In Canada, I did some modelling. It was for medical. It was for penile dysfunction. It was a before and after picture.
This is true. I get one. I didn't model. I don't model for big head things. I don't regard myself as having a large head. I don't have difficulty buying hats. I don't have difficulty getting into jumpers. My head doesn't cause me no...
When did those three guys get here?
To be fair, a big head doesn't normally cause the owner a problem. It causes the owner's mother a problem. How do you feel?
And you do look... Have you ever seen Dara?
It's smaller than my hips, for God's sake.
Your head is smaller than your hips. What kind of shape are you? You're a peanut.
Shakira's. Of course my head is smaller than my hips.
Dara, but it's...
Is
Dara,
your
look
head
at me.
not smaller than your hips?
No! Dara, look at me.
Oh, you're weird.
Yeah. Look at me. I'm going to take you to a hall of mirrors and show you how you should look. It's going to be the kid from Mars. See, look at that. It's fine.
Your head is absolutely enormous. In fact, on a normal-sized head, that would be a full head of hair.
But the good thing is...
Are you not staying in my house tonight?
When Dara opens an umbrella, it's like one of them little cocktail ones.
To put in context how big it is, Dara, it has its own gravitational field. It's pulled in an entire planet behind it. This desk was straight when we started.
I was expecting sympathy. That's why I introduced it.
What I did was I said something about... I revealed a weakness in front of 6 comedians, and I thought, there's a group that'll help me through this.
I think of you all as friends. I don't think of you as comedians. At the end of that round. And the point's going to Russell, Ed and Andy. Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics and then we'll see what our panellists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is rejected questions from this year's exams.
To keep them cool, the testes of the male Homo sapiens are on the outside. Should he put them back in his trousers?
Wayne lives 3 miles away from Kaylee, and Martin lives 6 miles away from Wayne. Who got her pregnant?
If an oil well is spilling out oil at 50,000 barrels a day, how do you stop it? Really? How do you stop it?
If you mix blue and yellow, how crap is your government?
If Mary has 1 apple, Thomas has an apple and an orange, and Tarquin has 2 apples, an orange, an ugly fruit, and 2 kumquats, whose parents read The Guardian?
Which is faster, a cheetah or Mel Gibson leaving the Mobos?
If you removed a man's lower intestine and stretched it as far as it could go, how angry would he be?
Calculate the circumference of Eamonn Holmes using pi.
OK, car is travelling at a constant speed of 70 miles an hour round the M25. In what imaginary universe are they in fact travelling?
Henry VIII loved the bitches. Discuss.
Chemistry. What's that smell?
Nelson lost an arm and an eye. Why didn't he call Claims Direct?
Your mum's a slag. Discuss.
The next topic is things you won't hear in a gardening programme.
If you're into naked gardening, here's a tip. Be careful what you do with the shears.
And that, folks, is how you get rid of a body.
Not only that, somebody has been sneaking into the allotment and putting topsoil on the ground. The plot thickens.
Last year, I couldn't be bothered to dig up my garden, so I phoned up Time Team and told them I'd just found a Roman coin.
And now, over to our lawnmower expert, Stumpy Jeff. Hi, guys!
See, David here has got some nice buddleia, and Jemima there, she's got some nice hydrangea, and I've got chlamydia.
Well, that's it for this week. I'm off home to plant my seeds. My wife's ovulating and I don't want to miss my slot.
Why grow flowers like this when you can steal them from a traffic black spot?
Last week, you were complaining about rabbits being rampant in your garden and being a pest. But let me tell you, I've got a rampant rabbit, and when it's in my garden, it causes nothing but joy.
Well, I've been having terrible trouble with a mole. He keeps on passing confidential information to other gardeners.
Here we see we've got a nice rockery over there, and there's a lovely fountain we put in, and next to that is the tree of knowledge. You will not eat from the tree of knowledge.
If your lawn suffers from patchy grass, just grow it along one side and comb it over.
And if you leave it for about 4 or 5 years, it should be just the right height to piss behind.
In a garden, it's... Who's blocking my light? Dara, could you just...
And over here is a wonderful water feature, like in Brussels, of a small boy pissing. This one's from Thailand, and I pay him 20 pence a week.
He ain't lying. It's good money.
Give it a round of applause for Russell, Ed and Andy. And that's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard. Commiserations to Chris Allison, Hugh Dennis and Stuart Francis. Thanks for watching. Until next week, I'm Dara Green. Good night.
Well, next week you get all the best bits of Mock of the Week. Same time, 10 o'clock. There's comedy tomorrow night here on BBC Two. Mighty Bush's Julian Barrett guest stars in How Not to Live Your Life at 10. And there's more right now from the proper South London geezer and his karaoke nan. It's Lee Nelson's Well Good Show on BBC Three.
So that's Mock the Week at 10 p.m. BBC Two.
Read all about it.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Mock the Week. We're returning with some brand new shows in September. So tonight we'll look back on the series so far and celebrate some of our favourite moments, a few outtakes and the best material we couldn't fit in the first time around. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you, thank you. Lovely, I'll be in my trailer. In other news, what's going on here?
Deal or no deal revealed the identity of the banker. The banker is Boris. The banker is Boris. It's not even that, actually. It's Boris Johnson. He's actually on a sex line. Yes, I'm oiling myself up.
I was going to say, that is the worst phone sex operator I've ever used. Don't get me wrong. We got there.
Is Boris just going, I don't believe it, it's magic. They're not in the room, but I can hear them.
Is he in fact going, I want to speak to the Mayor of London? What do you mean it's engaged?
He's much more likely to be going, the Olympics, 2012? Shit, I thought it was 2020.
Is he saying, hello, is that Durex? I want to complain.
Is he saying, of course the baby looks like me. All babies look like me.
I've got a lot of paternity cases like that.
He's actually going, I love the music they play when you're on hold. My milkshake rings on a voice of the yard.
Was he in fact put his hand over one ear? Because he's worried it'll go in one ear.
What is the story?
The story is the most fantastic story of the week is that Boris has allegedly fathered a love child, and the reason the papers have given is because a posh lady he knows has a baby who looks like Boris. As Ed pointed out, all babies look like Boris. If Boris put a nappy on and rocked up to an orphanage, he could get breastfed. That's how much he looks like a baby. And now all the papers have done is put an image of Boris Johnson having sex into my mind. All I can think about is him talking dirty. Can you imagine that? Madam, your udders are as magnificent as Cicero's oratory. That's all you can say.
His ladies aren't that attractive. At least Blunkett had an excuse.
Imagine the noise Boris makes at the point of orgasm. My God, it must sound like someone thrown a thesaurus into a blender. Just... Flabbity jonga wobbly gobbly!
How South Africa's been perceived around the world now?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think everybody's taken to the Vuvuzela. 50,000 of them have sold here.
Yeah, we love it. We're loving the Vuvuzela. You played a blinder there, if I can just say on behalf of the world, well done on the Vuvuzela.
There are positive aspects. There are.
But this is quite interesting, right? Nick, you give it a blow quickly.
Hey?
The Vuvuzela.
Hey, okay.
Right, now, Dara sounds like a sickly Lurpak man. Go on. I like you, Nick, but it sounds like a Wookiee having a tricky shit.
This noise... I'm sorry, I can't do it. You do it, right? One more time. Yeah, one more time. Should be followed by Han Solo going, ooh, give it a couple of minutes there, wouldn't I? Millennium Falcon toilets just for a second or two, Luke.
There are positive aspects to the Vuvuzela, because people all over the world now realise how appalling it is to give a child a toy trumpet for Christmas.
My mate Dave reckons, direct quote from my mate Dave, you know them Vuvuzelas? They're so loud they can kill a monkey. Is that true?
No, it's not. It's not true.
Wouldn't that be an amazing episode of Springwatch?
But I'll tell you what could. I'll tell you what could actually kill them is the Tutuzela. Have you heard of that?
What do you mean by Tutuzela?
The Tutuzela is a reference to Bishop Desmond Tutu. He's actually, it's a much higher pitch. If you listen to him, when he came on, what a wonderful occasion, and that actually, and then he made a speech afterwards. He said, what I want to say, let us not forget. Let us not forget. I just forgot.
That was incredible.
Please stop. You're scaring me.
There are tiny things that are great about the film, like Mick McCarthy's commentary is just exquisite. Could he sound any more northern if he tried? Kick it, twat it, go on. Nobble him. Have you seen the price at pies? Ridiculous. see my ferret. Kick it! Kick it!
I was thinking, you know, during the budget that he should actually have announced the budget. It would have been fantastic. The money's run out.
The other thing is just how, like, most, you know, ex-pros, they look after themselves. You know, Shearer still looks quite good. Mark Lawrenson, God bless him. Look at him, he's just melting in the chair. He looks like someone's put Jabba the Hutt in a microwave, and I salute him. And then, of course, just exquisite. I don't know, Gary, I couldn't care. I'm just eating my weight in meat.
The Irish didn't make it through, did they? Because of Thierry Henry handballing. And I was hoping that England and France would actually make it through and at some stage meet in the World Cup, just because I would love to see the dilemma Irish people would have, not knowing which country to support.
You know, it's a tough one. It is. You know, I genuinely think I'd probably even go for France just for old time's sake. It's difficult to shake that. The France. I mean, listen,
man!
If you want to see an explosion,
it's incredible. Well, what's amazing about it is Anelka's been sent home for calling the French coach a son of a whore. He didn't deny it. That was the incredible thing. Apparently, Anelka said, "Yeah, you're a son of a whore," and Dominic went, "Pardon me," which is an opportunity just to go, "I said you're a terrible bore."
I love you, son of a whore. I think it's a great... I think there should be more, you know, pirate insults wandering around international diplomacy. But the French have a brilliant insult, which is ta mère, right? Which is the equivalent of yo mama. Yo mama is this, but they say ta mère. The great... We used to trade them in college because we discovered this font of fantastic French insults. Ta mère est née dans un cadet, which means your mother was born in a trolley. That is... Ta mère suce citre onto... I've forgotten the exact words of it. What is it? Your mother sucks cider through her tights. Favourite all-time French insults. They do great your mother-based insults.
The French they're not going to be... But I'm amazed that Dominic heard it, because in every French film I've ever seen, you can't hear a word. The insult he would simply have gone... You are the son of a whore. Dominic would have gone...
But surely...
I would like to think that the entire French dressing room is in black and white with people smoking Gitan. Ta mère est tout là. A massive existential crisis in the middle of it. They're just innately cool, right? And it doesn't matter how much you slag them off. You still buy their wine, their meats, their cheeses. They don't buy anything from here. They don't buy anything from anywhere.
Oh, yeah, but they're only going to... I would like a Finder's crispy pancake.
That's not how they're going to say it.
How are they going to say it?
I would like a finish.
The next round is called Between the Lines and features Hugh and Russell. Would you make your way to the press pit, please? Russell delivers a speech in the guise of a leading figure on the world stage, while Hugh translates what they really mean. This week, Russell is David Cameron.
Of course I am. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to say that this coalition will be a partnership of equals.
White, no sugar, please, Nick.
I'm here to talk about real policies, not just popular slogans.
These aren't just policies. These are meticulously crafted, organic, deficit-cutting policy.
I'm afraid it's time for some unpleasant cuts.
There is no way I'm having another child.
The good news is we found oil just off the Falklands.
The bad news is it's drifted there from the Gulf of Mexico.
People say I'm just image... You pulled that face, haven't you? People say I'm just image and spin, but you can see statesmanship written all over my face. It's important to stress I'm very familiar with the language and culture of young people.
What's up?
No, people say I can't relate to hoodies, but at school, I was a real tearaway.
Yes, there was that time we spooned quints into matrons' loafers.
No, I'm not proud to say it. I was once a gang member.
Yes, no one messed with the Eton choristers.
I stopped doing that. Having visited America recently, I must say I've never met anyone like Barack Obama before.
Well, I have, but normally they're wearing white gloves and serving me G&T.
Why has new Tory MP Mark Reckless been in the news?
Oh, this is fantastic.
And I know to the nation you probably haven't heard the name, but Tory MP Mark Reckless.
Is he the
His actual name is Mr. Reckless.
Is he the representative in Parliament for all the Mr. men?
Why would the Mr. Men not pick Mr. Strong or one of the dependable ones? Why would? What's he?
He super glued his hands to his face. Is that,
that wasn't the recklessness in question.
He was too drunk to actually vote in the House of Commons. This bloke, right, is a lawyer who used to be a banker, right? A lot of people hate drunks, they hate MPs, hate Conservatives, hate lawyers and hate bankers. This bloke is, in fact, all of them.
Well, the lovely thing about this is on his website, and one of the questions was, why do you want to run for Parliament? And he said, because people in my constituency are fed up of being taken for granted, and it's time that somebody stood up for them. He had to be picked off the floor of the bar in the House of Commons and dragged to a taxi.
I think it's great. At least he's living up to his name. Mark Reckless, he's acting reckless. It's really awkward. You know when you meet somebody who's got, like, a wacky name and they're quite shy? Like, what's your name? Troy Pussy Pounder? What do you want to do, Troy? Librarian, and I live at home with my mum.
Do you think that's what it was, though? Do you think he was just trying to live up to his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, partly to live up to it, along with his friends, Captain Cautious and Miss Knobgobbler.
I actually like this. I think this is... I think it's a good thing.
It's a really good story.
I think what would be brilliant is if the next day all the other MPs turned up to work and just looked up, and at the top of Westminster was a traffic cone.
Just on Big Ben.
And do you know the reason that he couldn't actually go into the chambers to vote, right? He was trying to open the door to get away from the bar to go and vote, not realising that it was his own foot that was blocking the door from opening. Man.
I feel sorry for the people at Kent. There must have been some point where they're voting for Mr. Reckless. In a list of all the names, and they get to this Mr. Reckless, and they go... Oh, it can't be. It can't. This can't possibly backfire.
Or do you reckon there were signs everywhere around Kent that said "Vote Reckless" and people just turned up like just juggling fire? Like,
Or they'd vote by throwing the ballot paper in the air and firing one shot through it.
Well, we've all been drunk at work, haven't we? I remember when I worked on an oil rig in the Mexican Gulf.
Our next round is called Newsreel. We play in a recent piece of footage featuring people in the news and ask Hugh to suggest what might be being said. This week's clip features Fabio Capella and the England squad's training before the Slovenian.
All right, no hard feelings. I only shagged her once. Yeah, she's a lovely girl. The tactics, pass to Rooney, don't let Heskey shoot. And you here, Sean Wright Phillips, what are you doing here? I picked Walcott. Right, you lot go and train. I will announce the team 15 seconds before kickoff. So, I'm going to see if I can get this right this time. So, here we go. All right. Once you... What comes next? Once you... I can't get this. Once you... Yeah, don't worry about that, Wayne. Look, I'll tell you what. I'll show you some moves that the girls love. You ready? Look. Look at that. Bring me sunshine in your smile. No, they love that, the girls. I'll tell you what, I could be on that Strictly Come Dancing. Look at that, eh? Anton Dubek, you stuff that up your jacksie. Hey, I wonder if somebody's burgling me house while I'm here. Hey, Wayne, how is your anger management going? It's important, I know. Hey, piss off, Fabio. Here's another thing I tell the girls, like they love a bit of thigh. Did you see that? They love a bit of thigh, the girls, they love it. And, yeah, I'll tell you what I'm doing, eh? I'm warming up, but I tell you what, it's not for football. No, it's not. I can't go in the same direction as everyone. So that's right, left, right, left. I can't seem to get it. That's all. Left. Here's another one that goes, love, look at that. I'll tell you what I call that. I call that the leg over. Do you like that? They love that, the girls. They love it. Here's another one. Look, I bow before your beauty. The girls love that.
How come we are so shit?
What is the coalition planning to do about retirement?
They're going to raise the age of retirement, which means more old people will need to find jobs, which is tough because this is exactly the moment that they've cancelled Last of the Summer Wine. So there are far fewer jobs for pensioners. All those people now are having to work in B&Q advising people on which baths best slide down a hill.
The logic behind it is that people are living longer.
Yes.
Right?
It's fairly
so
obvious
people,
logic, yeah.
life expectancy is different. But women's life expectancy is still longer than men's, right? So women die on average about 81. We die at 77. So to be fair, we should retire 4 years before women.
It's interesting to hear exactly half the audience applaud. Exactly half the audience nudge the other half of the audience who are applauding and go, oh, I don't know, you're applauding. You're applauding. Oh, I'm retiring now.
The elderly work in my house, because if I said that to my wife, my life expectancy would be even shorter.
The good news, though, is if you're a bloke, though, and you manage to live to age 78, right, you know, look after yourself a bit, that does mean there should be a bit of spare totty kicking around.
What are they going to do in Scotland? Oh, my God, I've got a beautiful image of you, age 78. Hello, ladies! Would any of you sweet bitches like a Werther's original?
Oh, yeah. No, they can go to the top of the stairs and they can go...
Who wants to be working at that? You don't want to be working when you're 70 years...
Sorry, you're a comedian. You'll all still be working at 70.
Yeah.
You'll be in a tuxedo on a cruise liner. Hello. Always cheeky, never blue.
Why don't the elderly just, you know, refuse to work until they're 70, just go on strike? Wouldn't that be great? What do we want? I've forgotten. When do you want it? Whenever.
The life expectancy is getting so long at this stage, and for some people, the number of people who live to be 100 is going to get more and more and more. There'll be like literally tens of thousands of people. It will get
totty. That's all it means.
It's not just a toffee-based thing. I was going to make a serious economic argument how the people who will be taking more, who will spend as long retired as they ever spend working, and you are just somewhere in some over 80s disco. And the thing is, you look exactly the same. Now we play a round called What on Earth? I show the panel a topical image from somewhere in the world and ask them to tell me what's happening. So, teams, what on earth is this?
I love YMCA.
Is she going, I'd like to apologise for what my husband is about to say to me?
Is she saying, I don't know where I am? And he's saying, don't worry, I am a Sat Navajo.
She has done a cheeky little gag there. Wow. I'll tell you what, Milt, it's a rare day when you've hid away from a pun.
Bring him out of the comedy wilderness.
Is she saying, I left the hat, and he's thinking, yeah, wait until you found out that 2 of your swans are missing.
She's going,
I was going to do a joke about Red Indians, but I hear you have reservations.
Is that her being happy with the joke, or you being happy with the joke about it? That's her.
Don't make any sudden movements in their headdress. My husband's short-sighted and he's got a shotgun.
She's saying, I know all about battle axes. My son married one. Oh, come on.
They turn fast.
They do.
She's saying, that's nice. I keep my pens in a jam jar.
Yes, this is a story that the Queen and Duke of Edinburgh have been on an 8-day tour of Canada to celebrate the centenary of the Canadian Navy and to mark Canada Day. That man does not look like a sailor. He looks like he's in a band with the guy who looks like a sailor.
Are we having a loo break, by the way? Do you need one?
No, when we move the cameras, not now. Yeah. And we're not having a... No, you may run to... We're not having a loo break.
I certainly can't run to the loo.
OK, if you could slosh your giant...
Actually, you know, it's fine, because I've just been.
Oh, no, do not do the same. You can salvage the thing, but you can't... Oh, do a completely different thing. OK, fine, great.
It's always good to edit the show in the middle of it, though, I find.
I already know things I drop.
Hey, Dora, you know what the biggest talk about...
What is it? No, because I've got it in my hand. Don't you ask, and then I'll go, really?
I've got a way to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Dora, is that a vuvuzela in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me?
So what happened to the BP oil leak this week?
What happened to it?
I'm retaking the question. You don't have to
I know what you're doing.
I know, you've been in
I'm
the studio
answering it for humorous effect.
Yeah.
It either
Is this your first day?
You can answer it if you want. I'll ask
I'd like
again,
to,
and you can see that you can get
Good,
into the
now that it's just me and you, I probably still can't get a word in.
This game involves Milton, Andy and Diane, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. Without kicking the shit out of the set.
Oh, there you go.
Fuck off the face.
Well, that's a minute of the DVD sorted out.
Hey, that moment seemed a bit too hot for TV, yeah. How has Mandelson been promoting the serialisation in the Times of his new book?
He's been on Jonathan Ross.
Shut up. Shut up. This is not aim. Stop.
He's on Jonathan Ross with a new act called One Puff and a Memo.
And that is...
Dear BBC, I'm writing to complain about the coverage of Indian... Beloved, happy to hear.
I'd just like to second what he said. Has anyone seen Mongrels? Right, there's Mongrels, if you don't know, it's like this puppet show on BBC Three, and I was watching it the other day, and one of the cats got hit by a frying pan and got a lazy eye, and the other cat said to that cat, "What in the name of Russell Howard has happened to your face?" I sort of sat at home going, shit, hell. My genetic defects become a punchline.
Next topic is things you won't hear in a gardening programme.
I think the caption might be wrong for that one.
That's absolutely right. Sorry.
I'd like to complain to my TV channel about the caption.
I don't want to leave because I might not get back again. Really. You know what it's like when you're new anywhere, you just get fucked over, really.
Which pundit has managed to have a 100% success rate?
Paul the Octopus.
Is he your friend?
You can have them if you want. I don't think I have any... I don't think... Unless another octopus story appears in the news, I'm not sure what use it would be to have a plastic octopus.
You could put him on your face and pretend to be part of Doctor Who.
Oh, no. There'd be more. It's Alien.
Oh, let's be honest, we were talking about pranks earlier. That would be a good one to play.
That would be a good prank, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Sellotape it to your face.
Yeah.
Not where you've got it at the moment.
No, that's more... It'd be a hell of a codpiece, though, wouldn't it? That's right. You can't see it. That's it. That's right there. Oh, yeah? OK, here we go. The first subject is unlikely letters to television channels.
Dear Channel 5, your recent documentary on dyslexia was insightful and sensitive. Please show the boy with shit for brains again.
As a terrorist, I've been watching Countdown with interest. It is rubbish. Nothing happens.
Dear News 24, go to bed.
Dear Babe Station, have you actually read the trade description?
Dear Bravo, I don't quite know how to put this, but well done.
Dear Channel 5, isn't it time you just called it a day? No one will mourn.
I'm writing to thank you. On Sunday afternoon, while I was watching television with my wife, I was urged to press the red button. I did, and my wife had her first orgasm in 40 years.
Dear Al Jazeera, please bring back your hit sitcom, Men Behaving Baghdadly.
Dear History Channel, the Nazis were bad. We get it.
Dear Hallmark, roses are red, violets are blue, your cards are shit and your channel is too.
Dear Channel 4, why don't you pricks book me for any of your shows?
Dear Sky Sports -1. Thank you for showing the Grand National. I won £100,000.
Dear Points of View, who should I complain to if I think Points of View is shit?
Dear Fiver, if I give you a tenner, will you please stop broadcasting?
Dear Channel 4, why not liven up Deal or No Deal by putting a nail bomb in one of the boxes?
Okay, the next topic is things you don't want to hear in hospital.
I'm afraid it's the big C. It fell off the sign at Curry's and hit your wife on the head.
Whose penis is this?
Come on, push! Push! We've got no staff and the bed needs moving!
So, just checking your notes here. You're Mrs. A. Oh, I'm sorry. You've got MRSA.
You have acute angina, and your tits aren't bad either.
And if you don't want to know the results of your tests, look away now.
I'll tell you something funny about Dr. Thomas. In his handwriting, the words tonsils and genitals look exactly the same.
We're going to put you to sleep now because you're old and it's the kindest thing to do.
So, talk me through it again, Mrs. Hopkins. You were having Sunday dinner. You said to your husband, will you carve? And he just lay down on the floor and gave birth to a baby cow.
Of course it's upsetting, but, you know, Hitler only had one ball, and look how well he did.
This is Hospital Radio. I'm Chris Moyles, and I'll be with you for the next 14 hours.
Accept this sacrifice, almighty Satan!
I don't like the look of the charts, Mr. Wilkins. Dizzy Rascal at number 1.
How many fingers? That's right, 2. Fuck off.
Well done, very good. Win that round. Point for Russell, Ryan and Andy.
Blow it. After the joke, you go.
New comedy comes to BBC Two next Thursday at 10 with Joe Brand, a nurse on a geriatric ward in Getting On.